Welcome back to another episode of Root Notes. David, welcome back to North Carolina, man. You were gone for the weekend. Where did you go?
Yeah, man, it was life took me to Manhattan for a couple of nights and then up to Boston, where I got a chance to see my adult son, who has been all over this part of the world, like this part being the Atlantic Ocean. He was in the Mediterranean for a while. He's performing on a cruise ship, and he happens to be in Boston port. So I got up there when he was in the port and got a chance to spend a couple of hours with him before he had to get back on the ship and head back out. So it was a great weekend, but oh my goodness, a lot of travel.
Yeah, wow. You know, Tegan's doing it right. I made the wrong life decisions to be stuck here.
Yeah, he graduated one weekend. The next weekend, he's in Miami rehearsing with Royal Caribbean. A month later, he flies to Athens to get on this ship. And he's done. He'll do 25 countries before he's done. That include Iceland, Greenland, Spain, Portugal, England, Greece, Turkey. I mean,
that's wild. Good for him, man.
You know, as one does, like everybody does this.
Right, sure, yeah, because, you know, when I graduated from college, that's exactly what happened to me.
Right, exactly.
Not at all.
Oh, my God.
So the trip was good, yeah?
The trip was good, but it did, like, we both fly a fair amount, and, you know, planes are something I'm very, very used to. And
yeah, they don't always go so well, by the way. Traveling.
I'm
traveling
the opposite of. Yeah, I'm the opposite of a good luck charm, right? My travel luck is horrible. And I'm also fine with that. And it's like a flight delay, whatever. Like, that's just life. But I did have an experience on a plane that was unusual. So we're on the plane, and I happen to have gotten bumped to first class. So I'm actually sitting on the front row of the plane, so I could see some of this go down, right?
Okay.
But if I didn't have that vantage point, I really would have no idea that this went down. But basically what happened was LaGuardia was shutting down because of weather. And so if we didn't get wheels up in like 13 minutes, then we were going to miss our window and we might not fly out. So the pilot is trying his best to wrap up the ground stuff and get pushed back so that we can make this window. And basically the gate guy did not stop people from boarding that were late. And so the boarding process actually went longer than normal when the pilot was trying to get it to go shorter than normal. And the pilot was real upset about it.
Uh-oh.
Like real upset about it. And how do I know this? Well, I saw like a little teeny tiny bit of this, but I heard all about it. Not because I was sitting on the front row of the plane, but because this joker comes over to the intercom and he does this thing and he's like, I don't know if we're going to fly out because we were trying to make a quick departure and we might have missed our window and I don't know what that means. And I'm really frustrated right now. All right. So if you're sitting on the tarmac, about the last thing you want to know is that the pilot is not in good headspace.
Yeah, right.
Before the plane takes off.
Yeah, no kidding.
So we get pushed back and we're just sitting there. Pilot comes on. He's like, LaGuardia has let us know that they are shut down for departures. We're going to wait it out a minute. I am not happy. Like, I'm like, at this point, man, like, push this back. Let me get out. I'm
okay with not leaving.
Brother. Like, I don't want you dealing with this.
I want a very zen pilot. Yes.
I don't know if like other people have had this experience, but you know, with all my bad luck, like it is not uncommon at all for me to sit on a tarmac waiting to take off for 45 minutes or an hour. Like that has happened to me more times than I can count. On the tarmac, like 25 minutes. Yeah. So all in all, that wasn't that long. Like you didn't even need to make an announcement. Like, let us just sit there. It would be fine. But he did come back on one more time. He's like, all right. Looks like we're going to be able to take off here in just a minute. So I'm going to instruct the flight attendants to get ready for departure. Sorry about that earlier. I just really was frustrated with that gate guy. And he goes in, and the story that I just told you, he told every passenger on that plane. He's like, I told the gate guy that I needed us to make a quick departure. That's why we were trying to get on this plane as quickly as possible. The boarding process usually takes 22 minutes, somewhere between 20 and 22. This time, it took an extra 17 minutes when I told the guy we needed to be faster.
Wow.
So I'm just really frustrated. I'm glad that we're leaving RDU, so I'm away from that guy. He says this over the intercom.
Wow.
And I'm sitting there and I'm like, you know what? As a leader, you got to think about what you're saying to people. You can't just say stuff. You can't just emote out into the open. We're all on a plane that you're flying, man. Do you know how unstable you sound right now?
Yeah. No confidence in that.
No confidence. And I'm like, as a leader, be judicious. Like TMI is not what we need coming out of the loudspeakers.
Yeah. You have a co-pilot right here. Tell them.
Right. Just tell him.
Turn the intercom off.
Man, I could not believe it. So that's what I was saying. Like, I was sitting at the front, but I did not hear all those details. I heard those details with everybody else on the plane.
How did everyone else react? Were they all just looking around
like looking around like, are we gonna be okay?
Are we gonna be okay?
which the reason I'm telling you this story,
that's funny,
is because it made me think about a very specific time where we were doing a strategic planning consultation with an organization that will remain unnamed for reasons that will become clear in a second. And there was a leader that really, really overshared.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yes.
So that moment occurred to me as I'm listening to this pilot, like, dude, just turn off the intercom while you think about this.
Yeah.
So, Wes, what you want to tell this story?
Yeah, no, I've told this story a few times, and always in generalities, because we don't want to overshare ourselves here. But we'll be careful with that. But what I'll say is that, it was about 15 years ago or so. I mean, it's been a long time. And And we typically do a process where we have a long engagement, 3 to 6 months or so with an organization. They help them do a deep process for strategic planning. These folks reached out to us and said, we just want a 1-day facilitation. We need to just do a little planning. We need to refresh. We need to come together around some priorities. Great. And sometimes that's great. Sometimes that's a really good thing.
Yeah, that can be awesome.
So we agreed, and we showed up day of, and from the jump, from the beginning, this went off the tracks in the most hilarious and unexpected, and to this day, just mind-boggling ways. I don't know if you remember this, but it's a team of about maybe 8 or 10 folks that were around the table.
A large group.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a very large group. So all the folks in the department or the organization. And from the jump, I knew this was going to be a strange day, because we just asked them, we said to them, tell us who you are. Do you remember this?
I forgot this part of the story.
Oh my goodness. Because we should have known
that's a fairly innocent thing to invite a group to do at the beginning of a day you're going to spend together. Hey, tell us a little bit about who you are.
Tell us a little bit about who you are. That's what we said. I expected to say, hi, my name is Wes Rich, and this is my position, and I've been here for 8 years or whatever it is.
A normal person.
Right.
Like, humans do.
Right. The very first person said, my name is, fill in the blank, and since 2010, I feel like I've been a lost child, just floating on the breeze. And went full existential on us.
Oh my gosh. And this is minutes. This is minutes into the facilitation. We're going to be all day with these people.
This is 8:05.
Hi, I'm David. This is Wes. Tell us a little bit about who you are. I'm a lost child.
Floating in the wind since 2010. And I thought, okay, and went on for a very long time. And I thought, okay, that
Yeah.
was weird.
Yeah.
And
That
I
was
said,
it.
okay, great. Next.
Mm-hmm.
But the next person did the same
Right.
thing,
Because the
fully
tone was
existential.
set.
The
This is
tone
all
was
like,
set.
this ain't even the story I was talking about. This is probably like a
No,
whole different episode, but
no. But here's the thing: they kept one upping each other, right?
exactly.
Like getting more and more existential. I swear, the last person just fully divined like William Faulkner, and they're just like, since the years when the river flooded and did not recede, I have been caught between
We're
the
getting
flood and the
people's
shore, or something like that. I
we're
mean,
getting people's like spiritual autobiographies. They're just like, hey, we're just gonna have a fun day together. Tell us about yourself.
wow, yeah. So
It
from the
happened.
jump, it was one of those things, right?
It was a
But
mess, man.
the thing that you brought up was that during this unbelievably strange day, there was an exercise where we asked folks to, maybe look at some opportunities and just write them down on a slip of paper anonymously, put them in the jar. We're going to sort them out during the break. We're going to come back and do a little activity, right?
Yeah, just drop some ideas of
Drop some
things that
ideas.
we might be addressed in a strategic planning
That's right.
process that you
That's
think are key, because we had just dropped in with these folks that day,
That
right?
day.
So it's not like we looked in as
Right.
you had described.
Right.
Yep. So again, this is not out of the box that far, y'all.
No.
This is just like, hey, you know what? We really could work on our internal communication processes, or it'd be great if we use technology a little different.
Yeah, we have some
these kind of
funding
things.
opportunities out there that
Yeah.
we're not grabbing, that sort of thing.
Diversifying our, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So one of the cards that was in the bucket said, perhaps the leader, the person in charge of this organization, should not be the person in charge of this organization, which is like, whoa, this is going to be a
You read
problem.
that, you're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Except that in parentheses on the card, which was supposed to be anonymous, it said,
this was the
by
one and only thing signed.
the one and only thing signed, written by the person who was the leader.
Perhaps the leader shouldn't be the leader, signed the leader.
That's 100% what happened.
Do you still have that? You held on to that for a long time,
Man.
thinking we could make that a part of the book one day or something.
Maybe so. I don't know if I still have it, but it's seared into my brain, because that was probably 8:30. No, that was probably 9 a.m. We took an hour going around the table. It was the wildest thing.
It was a crazy day.
It was full
no, we
dysfunction.
got those slips at lunch, because I remember
Is that right?
like everybody was doing lunch and we were sorting these things out to facilitate the afternoon, and it had been a mess of a morning. And
Well,
then we pulled that out. I think you pulled it out first. You were like, "Look at this," and I'm like, "Is this real?" And it was real. It was real.
For those of you who want to know what you should do in a situation like that, from folks who are a little more seasoned here, if that happens, crumple that up, throw it away. You never saw it.
You never saw it.
It's not worth it. But
that is not one of those things that you're going to deal with.
No. Now, we should not have been surprised by this point, because this team had been through it, man. They
so dysfunctional.
had the most petty arguments. There was a 20-minute tearful argument between one of the office staff and one of the professional staff about the type of K-cups that were being ordered. And they knew that they were purposefully not ordering the ones that they liked, and it was a personal affront. This is the same team. We're getting way off here, man. But this is the same team, and I think this will come back around. This is the same team that said to us, we have more money than we know what to do with. I have never worked with an organization that said,
you got all the resources you need, and we're here to talk about how to use those resources strategically. And Star Child over there can't get along with their coworkers because of the coffee and tea being ordered.
Yeah.
It was dysfunctional team, and it was.
My goodness.
We were still kind of green in the process, so we had some.
We're not green in our profession. Let's be clear. We weren't newbies.
No, but I mean,
this is the first time we sort of.
This is just a few clients into us doing this
Together,
work, and
yeah.
the other ones have been so good and also so much like everything that's happened since then.
Yeah.
But in that day, that we were kind of looking at each other like, did we just forget how to do this entirely? Like,
No,
did we just wake up this morning and not know anything?
well, man,
No, it was just a weird group.
I was certain by lunch that Ashton Kutcher was gonna jump out with a camera crew and like, "You're being punked right now."
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so
But it was such a dysfunctional team, and we shouldn't be surprised that it was a
that's exactly my
dysfunctional
point.
team because you have a leader telling the team that he leads, I don't know if I should be your leader. In
What
the
are you
middle of that day, signed me, so you know I said it. What is this? And
Yeah,
that story popped into my head because it was like the dangers of not thinking carefully as a leader about your responsibility in sharing. Like you can joke about oversharing and TMI, but the truth is, as a leader, your words have weight. Your words create the reality in which your team operates. The cohesion of the team is somewhat tied to their confidence in your leadership.
that's exactly right. There is value in being human and authentic. There's
Yeah,
value in admitting fallibility and being big enough to deal with that
that's
with
right.
your team. Um, but man, this goes way too far. This completely undermines their trust in you. And so
Mhm.
you could see in that team that not only did they not respect the leader, they didn't trust the leader, they didn't respect or trust each other, because that's the
Yeah,
tone that's been set.
that's the tone, right?
Well, and it's
Everybody's
just
second guessing everybody
everything.
because the leader is second guessing himself.
Himself. Yes, that's exactly right. So that's the caution. Now, it's an extreme kind of example, right?
Yeah, but it brings to mind, the fact that as a leader, you have part of your responsibility is to, navigate these kind of things in ways that empower your team to do what it needs to do and stay focused on the mission. What it ended up being was this Joker like therapized, like trying to turn what should have been a strategic planning conversation for the organization, for the team, for the how do we double down, triple down? Like, how do we become more effective at accomplishing the purpose of our, like, we talk every time we work with the organization about what is your noble purpose? Because
Mhm.
we want to center in that. You know what the noble purpose of a team should not be? Reassuring the leader.
That's right.
Like your job as a leader is to not be needy in that way. Now the truth is, I don't want to pretend like I'm not trying to be like the toxic masculinity thing. That
No,
like every leader is going to have those moments.
that's
It's like I totally get the pilot being upset with that gate guy. Like you're
mhm.
trying to get a plane off the ground. You set that expectation. Look, if people are late, they'll miss this plane instead of the plane missing its window.
That's
Like
right.
I understand him being mad about that. Don't share that with the plane.
No,
Share that with your co-pilot.
that's right.
Share it with your friends. I do something else, but don't
Anything
tell the
else.
plane. Don't pick up the intercom and start emoting over it.
That's right.
And because as a leader, you have a responsibility to the others on that team to be judicious in your sharing. I think
That's right.
that's really the issue.
Yeah, that's definitely the issue. You're not focused on the mission, you're focused on you. And you gotta deal with that. You gotta deal with that quickly. Now, like I said, this was an outlier for our experience after
Yeah.
decades now and hundreds of folks, we've thousands of folks that we've worked with. This
Yeah.
still is so far outside the farthest standard
Mhm.
deviation, right? That we laugh about it. But it gives us the opportunity to think about this does happen in small ways, in subtle ways, and it's normal. So I don't want folks to think
No.
for a second that, questioning your ability, wondering if you're the right person for the job, if you're doing a good job, if it's the right fit, that's a good thing. It's okay. It's healthy to ask that. Self-reflection is important. But you're exactly right. You need to bounce that off of someone else. And it does not need to be someone on your team, and it doesn't need to be someone necessarily that you necessarily have a reporting relationship with, up or down. That's a dangerous thing
Yeah,
too
right.
sometimes.
I think that's the takeaway is like, besides the hilariousness of all of this, and really the hilarity of it is only because, one, I'm not on that dude's team. Like if we got to leave, like
Oh,
if we had to be on,
it
it
wouldn't be
wouldn't be
funny.
so funny.
No.
And then the pilot, we landed just fine in LaGuardia and everything was cool. But the truth is the situation that's sort of being illuminated there, if we want to have a takeaway, it's that leaders need to make sure you got people that can be those people for you. I know that you've started really working with some leaders in sort of a coaching relationship with those leaders. And that might be a really great way for you to wrestle through things like, is this a good fit for me? Like, I feel like I've lost the team. Don't process that with the team.
That's
You got
exactly
to
right.
process that somewhere else. And I think you were sharing with me, before, about the fact that you worked with a leader who actually made the decision, like, this isn't for me.
That's
Like,
right. Yeah.
I think I am not in the right place,
Mhm.
and made the decision to go in that direction.
That's right. Yeah, that's one of the, you can take that direction. And I want to be clear, this leader was not bad. Like, he was good, and he didn't make this mistake. He was not oversharing with
Right.
his
Yeah.
team.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
was not crossing those boundaries. But over time, he had been sharing with me the stress of it, the weight of it. He was working against the grain in some ways, that
Yeah.
the energy
You mean like
was
his own grain?
right. Yeah, it just was.
Right.
Yeah, he was in a good spot. He loved the
Yeah.
organization. Here's the deal. He actually had started something. And there are folks who are really excited about starting things, and they come in and they do a really good job and they build it out. And then there are folks who like to caretake and help things move along. Sometimes people have both of those skills, sometimes they don't.
Oh,
He
that's a good observation.
realized after this thing was up and successful and working well, that the caretaking of it was more than he wanted to really invest in. And he wanted to move back to a position where he felt he could have the greatest impact, that he could get the most joy out of. And he did, and is very, very happy. And so that's one path you can
Yeah.
take. And there's
Right.
nothing
And I
wrong with
bring
that.
that. Right, exactly. I bring that up to just say the guy's question, that ended up on this little piece of paper. I want to normalize that. Yeah, you should talk to people about that, and it may be even the case that you should find a position that's a better fit and work all of that out, not with the people on your team.
That's right.
Be careful about what you're sharing. And then it might also be the case, and I know this is more often the case, that people come to you as leaders who are saying, like, I'm not sure about where this is going. I feel like I'm losing my team. And you're able to help them process some of that stuff in ways that help them realize, oh, okay, yeah, let's lean into this. Maybe I do need to tweak this, but I probably don't need to leave my profession to do it.
Yeah. And what a lot of folks need is, they do need the external perspective. Sometimes they just need to get it off their chest. And sometimes they just need to hear they're not the only one, right?
Yeah.
Like, to be able to say, well, I've had an experience like that before. Let me tell you about it if you want to hear it, if we're going to share. But it also is about sort of giving them tools and strategies, like, what's a structured way? What are some things we can do now in small ways that can start shifting this focus for your team around the mission, so that we're getting little wins moving forward. We're starting to see the bigger picture. You're starting to feel more connected to it, like laying out a path, right? And sometimes you just need someone to help you illuminate a path forward with those sort of conversations. We worked with an organization many years ago that was in the middle of some big transition. It was a public health organization, and they needed to move into this public health 3.0 model, which was the public health 3.0 model in terms of, being the chief convener and the chief health strategist and all that sort of stuff. And they had a large sort of clinical care unit attached to their organization, and it had to be divested. That means reduction in force. It means a significant shift in resources. That's a big lift for anybody.
Just to de-jargonize this for any listeners who might not know what you're talking about. So public health entities had sort of accreted more and more, had gotten more and more
into
clinical
clinical.
services.
That's right. Yeah.
That started out as safety net, and then it started doing a lot of other types of services. And then with this new way of thinking about public health that came along about a decade or so ago, there was the selling off of some of these clinical services to private entities so that public health could focus more on convening coalitions and thinking
That's
about
right.
systems. And
Yeah, there's David's mini lecture on Public Health 3.0. Yeah, that's exactly right. I think most people know what divest means, but anyway,
maybe.
it's helpful. It's helpful to have somebody to talk to through that transition
Yeah.
to give you some tips and strategies. So I highly recommend that. Get a coach. If you can't get a coach, get a colleague, get somebody outside of your organization, preferably, that you can connect with and you can commiserate with and you can laugh with and you can cry with. All of that's fine, but it's not okay to lay that on your team. That's a bad move. It's a bad leadership move.
And so the question for leaders is who are my people that I can get these needs met, like the emotional venting, the idea generation, the questioning, the decisions I have to make as a leader. You need those people. You got to find those people as a leader. You want to be able to have clear relationships that serve those purposes for you. And
Yeah,
if
and when
you're
you're
not careful, you'll make those relationships into relationships that they shouldn't be with people that you lead, or you're like in the pilot's case with your customers or like
That's right.
your clients, your patients, like the people who definitely don't need to carry your burdens.
That's right. Yeah. And let me say, when you're trying to find somebody, when you're trying to think about who in your network or who to find externally, you want to find somebody who will listen and will be empathetic, but will tell you hard truths if there are hard truths to be
Right.
told. And do it in a caring way, but don't sugarcoat it. Because what this leader was doing way back when, he was looking for affirmation. He needed
That's it.
somebody to tell him, it's okay. You are good. You're good enough to do this. You're
That's
doing a
it.
good job. And you cannot force that down on the
No.
people who are reporting to you, who you're supposed to be directing. I mean, that's a toxic relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, don't be the pilot and don't be that dude.
And don't be that
And
guy.
and don't pretend like you don't need people either. I mean, that's the
No,
other
yeah.
error that I think some leaders find themselves in is you burn yourself out because you pretend like you could do it as an island. You need people that you can
do.
vent to, and
Yeah.
you need people that you can say, "Do I even need to be leading this team?" Just make sure they're the right people.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, man, I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you had a good trip, and glad Tegan is living his best life, taking
Yes.
after his father, Dr. Worldwide here. So, have you got any detours worth taking for
I
us?
took a literal detour worth taking.
Okay.
A literal turn that was awesome. So my son Tegan lived in New York for a while. And I already liked the city a lot, but I really fell in love with it visiting him. I'd go up to see him perform and stuff. So I just fell in love with the city. If you don't like New York City, let me talk to you, because I think I could sell it. But with all the time that I've spent up there, and New York has like a million things, so it's not all that surprising that I discovered something. But we were like 2 blocks over from the Hudson and getting a cup of coffee and had lunch reservations, but there's a little bit of gap in time. So I'm just like, hey, let's just walk over to the Hudson. It looks like it might be on the map, kind of a industrial area. But let's just check it out. Well, get over there, and it is the coolest thing. So we're like West Chelsea. If you get into Manhattan and you want to find this, it's like West Chelsea, like right up into an area called Hudson Yards. And we go over it, and there's this thing called the High Line. And you might have heard about it in a Tay-Tay song. So Taylor Swift has a song about heartbeat on the High Line, and I'm pretty sure that's what she's referencing. But I never really knew what it was. And what it is a rail line that they've made into like a trail in the city with very cool little, just like a really nice place to walk with trees and garden kind of areas and stuff like that. And it's elevated up over a lot of the streets in the city. So it gives you a very cool view of the water, but also cool view of the city. And it goes for a while. Like, I mean, you could take the High Line for a nice long walk. And there's like art museums and stuff like that all around. So like right off of the High Line, cool little shops and stuff. Never seen this before. It is so awesome. But it just so happens too, it is sort of industrial area. So we're up on this cool trail where everything's really well curated and everything, but you're looking out over the actual place where all the subway trains come in to just like be serviced and that kind of thing. So you're looking at just literally 15 rails full of subway cars, which is sort of a sight to behold by itself. And so if you are in Lower Manhattan, take a detour, go west, find Hudson Yards, hop on the High Line. It is a super cool way to see a different part of the city.
That is cool. And I'm going to ask you because I don't remember. So a couple years back, you and I made a whirlwind trip to Manhattan because we were working with an organization, very cool organization, doing strategic planning. And the big event was in downtown Manhattan. We were in a boardroom overlooking the Hudson. It was awesome. And I think we were near this, but we came in because our flight got canceled. We drove through the night. We did the facilitation. And because you had to be back on a plane at RDU, we drove through the night again. So I remember very little about that area, but I think it's close to that, wasn't it?
By the way, if you want to get some sense of why Wes was talking about traveling with me is a nightmare, it's because these are the kind of travel arrangements that I think are fine and normal and okay.
Oh my God. I'm too old to make that drive.
Well, it's not like I remember because this was a minute ago, but I remember you got back that weekend and I was like going again.
Yes.
Like I'd gotten back because I had to go again. And you just sent me a text. You're like, I can't live this lifestyle.
I can't do it. I can't do it anymore. Can't keep up with you.
But yeah, so we were in Lower Manhattan. Absolutely. We were a little closer to World Trade. So we were probably about, I don't know, maybe 10 blocks south of where I'm talking about. Very cool. It's in that vicinity roughly.
All right. Well, that's a very cool detour worth taking. I hope to go and do that, just not on a 24-hour turnaround.
And take your daughter because she's a big Taylor Swift fan, and I think that this is a thing. I'm not sure, but I think it's a thing for Taylor Swift fans.
So alternate detour, if folks want to take it. Now that you mention it, Taylor Swift's new album drops on Friday, and there is an album release party that's happening at all major AMC theaters and the IMAX. So she has.
You know why I know about this? I saw it on the big billboards in Times Square.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, like these big orange signs that were talking about the release party. Yeah,
that's right. So if you can't make it to Manhattan and get on the High Line, get with about 500 of your closest Swifties and go to your nearest theater and rock out. No, she's going. Because she has her license now.
So you don't have to. I mean, you don't get to go.
Yeah. Good deal. All right, folks. Well, we've been all over the place here. We've been Manhattan and we've been Taylor Swifting, and it's been a wild ride. We're glad David got back safely. Hopefully you've stuck with us and enjoyed the conversation. It was fun. Thanks for joining us.
See y'all off the road.